Cooking a steak that's frozen is crazy, right? Maybe not. We are going to find out today. I'm Ralph, welcome to my kitchen, and today we are cooking frozen steaks fresh out of the freezer. Let's give it a shot. What I've done so far is I've taken my griddle, now you could also be using a pan, and heat it up on medium heat for about 5 minutes before you do this. Now since they're frozen, it's kind of useless to season them at this point, so we're not going to season them just yet. And I'm going to put them on the griddle just as they are. We're going to do that for 2 minutes per side, 6 times. That's once. Resetting the timer. Now, let me point out, when you do this, you really ought to plan ahead a little bit. When you freeze steaks, I put these into a vacuum sealed bag, which that helps keep that little frost from forming. Now, if you don't happen to have one of those vacuum sealers, next best thing would be to take your meat out of the package from the grocery store or the market, wrap them up in cellophane, then put that cellophane wrapped steak inside of like a freezer bag, try to press out as much air as possible, seal it up, then put it into the freezer. Because what we're trying to avoid is that little ice crystals that tends to form on frozen meat when it's in the freezer. That's 2. Starting number 3. I'm going to go ahead and reverse these just in case there's a little difference in temperature here on the grill. That's 3. Now we're going to be starting 4. Now, by this time, the heat is starting to get into the little nicks and crevices of the meat itself, and getting that meat into, or getting the heat into the meat a little bit. But it's still pretty frozen on the inside. That was 4, so this will be starting 5. Okay, that was 5. This should be starting 6. Now let me point out, when I put these on here, I did not have any oil in this pan yet. At the end of this 2 minutes, we're going to be putting it over to rest for another 10. Then they're going to be coming back on. More about that later. Okay, that should be the end of 6. So I'm going to be pulling them off the heat. Now when we come back to put them back on, I'm going to be cranking the heat up to full, to a high heat. Okay, at this point, I've also started a little butter with some garlic in it, so that when we get to the next phase, we're going to be basting them with the garlic butter. Right now, you can kind of see that they're a little bit more thawed at this point in time. So now is a good time to be adding some seasoning. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, Now, they're going to be resting for the next 10 minutes, so we will be back then. Okay, been 10 minutes. We're ready to put them back on the grill. I've got the butter nice and melted. Got the garlic in there that's been seared a little bit. Ready to put the steaks back on. Now, I've turned the griddle up to high, and it's been like that for several minutes so that it's come up to temperature nicely. I can see the oil that's left over from the steaks starting to smoke a little bit, so we know it's good and hot. Now we need to put a little bit of oil on there. I'm using a little bit of avocado oil. Shouldn't take very much. There's still some left from the steaks themselves. We're going to be putting them on for 1 minute per side. Now while we're doing that, I'm going to start basting the steaks with the butter. And the garlic. You're going to need to be careful because it is going to be kind of spitting at this point, but we're only doing it for 1 minute per side, so you're not going to have to put up with the spitting for very long. First side is done. Let's go ahead and get this side basted. Okay, it's ready. Heat off, and we let them rest for another 10 minutes. Then we're going to be ready to cut into them. See you then. It's time. The 10 minutes are over. Time to see just how it turns out. Now, unlike a typical steak, I did not have a chance to salt it 45 minutes to 24 hours ahead of time. I have no idea how tender to expect it to be, but let's see. Oh wow, that's cutting like really easy. Let me cut a little bit here to show you. There's how it turned out. Looks nice and juicy. Nice and medium rare. Let's go ahead and taste a little bit of it here. Really good. And it really didn't take hardly any time at all. It's much quicker than trying to remember to take that steak out first thing in the morning, let it thaw by the time you get home for dinner, then cooking it straight out of the freezer. Look at that again. That's pretty darn good. And the flavor is really good too. Tell you what, if you like the video, hit the like button down below. Got directions down below. Links to everything that we cook with. And I always appreciate a subscription. So with all that said, I'll catch y'all the next time.